Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Sweet Africa. Our cultural event today will showcase and highlight Ugandan culture, attire, and woodcrafts in the continent of Africa. We have with us today Minister Jennifer Favor. She will be introduced to you all by Ms. Sharika Bridges, and we hope you enjoy the presentation today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Minister Jennifer Favor was born and raised in the East African country of Uganda. While in Uganda, she worked as a radio and television producer and as a show host as well. She also successfully ran for office in the Ugandan Constituent Assembly. Minister Favor came to the United States in 1998 and since has traveled around the country diversifying the lives of others by showcasing her knowledge of African folklore, jewelry, fashion, and crafts. So without further ado, I present to you Ms. Jennifer Favor.
Thank you so much, Ms. Carter, for giving me the opportunity to speak to this wonderful body of students of Francis Marion. Good afternoon, everybody. And I thank my mother who introduced me to her very friendly neighbor who you guys probably know already. I think she's the head librarian. You know the head librarian, yes? Miss Joyce Durant is a great neighbor of my mother. My mother, Miss Daisy Walden. She is the one who brought me to South Carolina, and I absolutely enjoy her. I enjoy this city of Florence, and you know, there's nothing more I have enjoyed in America than this city. Like my wonderful introducer, what's your name, darling? Sharika introduced me very well. I've been to different parts of the United States, but when you talk about the people, the weather, the food, the best has been in Florence, South Carolina. Yes, when I first came here, I landed in Oklahoma. And so everybody used to come and say, what are you doing in Oklahoma? I tell you, you can be in any part of the United States and you just find good people and you feel at home. I don't care how far you come from, thousands of miles, as you have heard from East Africa, Uganda. It's like 22 hours to fly down here. Yes. But nevertheless, Africa is still in my heart. I'm a pure African. I tell my mother all the time I want to make something that will remind me of home, so she just lets me prepare my dish. Sometimes she tries it, sometimes she doesn't dare. But, you know, I have deep gratitude to Americans, the way they are so hospitable. You guys are very generous. You make sure we have eaten. When we come here, you make sure we sleep well. We thank God for your country. I would like to tell you about a girl called Nambi, a very beautiful girl who lived long ago. As you know, we start off stories by saying, long, long ago. There was a girl by the name of Nambi. This is a common name in my country. If you came to my country and they think that, you know, they just like you, you're the most beautiful person at heart, and you're a girl, they will probably give you the name Nambi. It's a very treasured name. So this girl was very beautiful and really gentle, and everybody wanted to marry her. But it was so difficult for her to make a choice out of all the wonderful, handsome men who were her suitors. And so there was a big contest between the three of them. It just came down to three of them who just said, we will not give up. We're going to make sure we marry her. Each one of them just was determined to marry her and trying to do everything to impress her. Nambi lived a big river across from where these guys lived. She was in that one village and they were over here, and it was not easy to access her. They knew about her. When they go on fishing trips, they would see her. But it wasn't quite easy when, like, it has rained, the river is flooding. To get to her was not easy. So one of them thought, you know what, I'm going to impress her. I'm going to invent a vessel that can really cross this river no matter what time of the year, whether it's rainy season, flooding, whatever. So he invented a vessel that would literally jump over the river, can take a number of people across the river to see Nambi. So he invented, he was hush-hush about it. And then one of them said, you know what, I don't have to go across the river. I'll find something that I can just see her, binoculars. So he went ahead and invented his own binoculars. He could see Nambi every time he wanted to see her, he could see her. He kept working on it, updating it and upgrading it every day. And as long as he was working on his machine, he was viewing Nambi every time he wanted. She's going for firewood, she's going to collect water, she's cooking, she's at home relaxing, he would see her. And he would tell the guys, hey, I know how Nambi's doing. So how does he know? He also kept it a little secret. He has this device. So, and then one of them thought, what can I impress her with? Nobody has ever invented medicine or a drug that can raise the dead. I'll be the first one in the whole entire world. I'm sure Nambi will be impressed. If I can raise a dead person in her presence, she will think, I'm smart, I'm the smartest. So he also worked hard and actually succeeded in inventing this medicine out of herbs. He also was hush-hush, didn't tell his friends about it. And days went by, they were all, every day they work on their inventions, just making every invention better. And one day, lo and behold, Nambi was going to fetch something, maybe firewood or water deep in the jungle, and she fell down, collapsed, and died. No, she didn't know where she was. Nobody knew where she had gone, but the guy who was always spying on her, his binoculars was right on her, and he saw when Nambi fell down and died. And he was very, very sad and so emotional that he now had to reveal his little secret to his friends. Rushed to all his friends, the other two guys, say, guess what? Forget about Nambi. So what do you mean we forget about Nambi? Nambi is dead. What happened? I saw her. How did you see her? Well, I must confess to you guys, my thing that I've created to impress Nambi was a binoculars. I could see her anywhere, anytime. And I've been watching her every day. That's why I told you I know about Nambi every day. And you were asking me, how did I know? I could see her from my home. Today, I just saw she died. Are you sure? Yes, she died right in the jungle. And I know exactly where she has dropped. I can show you. So they came to his house quickly and they looked through his little device and they saw Nambi real dead. What do? We've lost her. Well, the one who has the medicine out of the herbal medicine to raise the dead said, guys, don't lose hope. Wait a minute. What season is this? Can we go across that water? Because I have an answer. What answer do you have? We can get Nambi back. We can get Nambi back. Wow, what are you gonna do? I have invented a medication that can raise the dead. You really did? Yes, I have it. Here it is. So he brought it to them. He said, but what shall we do to cross this flooding river? We have to get to Nambi quickly. Yeah, he said, if we don't get in the next 24 hours, we shall lose her because it cannot raise her after she's been dead for 24 hours. All right, so then the last secret comes out. So guess what, guys? My invention is a vessel that can jump us over the water. We just get ourselves, I press a button and we shall jump over we don't have to sail, we don't have to wade through, no, we just jump over. Can take all the three of us, oh yeah, come on, get ready. So they get ready and they say, man, we didn't know you have this kind of device. They say, yes, I have, but you know, you guys kept your little thing secret, I also kept mine secret. Well, now the secret is out, we can go, get the medication together and deal with the binoculars. Do you know exactly where I'll make sure you get to exact location, like a GPS of those days. All right, so they get ready and they jump and hip and just get to where this young lady was lying, and they quickly administered the herb, and Nambi came back to life. Huh? everybody was excited. Everybody, they announced to the village, Nambi had died, Nambi is up. So they took the girl to the villagers, and everybody was so happy, rejoicing and celebrating. But then the big question, Nambi is very impressed by all the three. But the question is, who is now going to marry Nambi? Well, again, the argument started. I'm the one who raised her from the dead. So, I'm the one to marry her. I'm the one. If I didn't do this, if I didn't bring the medicine, she won't be alive. So the other guy said, wait a minute. If I didn't see Nambi and tell you about her being dead, how would you have known to come and administer the medication? I'm the one to marry Nambi. The other guy is watching them and say, huh? Guys, you need to hush, the two of you. Wait. I am the one who brought you over here. If I didn't bring Nambi, how could you have administered your medication? And you, because you saw her, now you think, you saw her, that's about it. You came crying, you told us we lost her, but I brought you over here. So I'm the one to marry Nambi. And everybody is so disarmed. Everybody in the village, they say, what do we do now with these guys? Who should really... The king had no answer, the chiefs had no answer, her parents had no answer. Nambi was the last one to give the final judgment. Nambi, please, this is now too much for everybody. You need to tell us, who will you marry? It's been a long time these guys have been arguing over you. Now, they raised you from the dead. Everybody played a part. Nambi, please, we need to show gratitude to this guy. What do we do? Can you make a decision? Pick one. He said, well, guys, I can't pick one. It's hard because everybody played a vital role in this whole situation. I make a decision today that I will... See, in Africa, when you talk about getting married, the actual word is cooking. It's like a woman is married to go and cook. That's when I come to America, I hear about husbands cooking for their wives. It's like kind of strange for me. In my culture, if you find a man cooking, you say he really, really has spoiled his wife. Really, he has just spoiled her rotten. Because a man doesn't cook. The reason he marries is so she can cook for him. So that's why they have even used the word for cooking for marriage. So when you get married, they call it okufumbirwa, which means you're going to cook. So before you marry a woman, better find out if she can cook. That's over there. Over here, hey, if you don't cook, it's fine. The man knows how to cook, we shall make it, So I love this. But Nambi said, well, guys, I know it's about cooking. I know with you guys it's about cooking. So guess what? I'm going to cook for the three of you daily. What? Yes. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'll be cooking for the three of you. They said, are you really going to do it? She said, yes, I will. I'll cook for you equally. And I'm not going to make, each one of you will eat and will be satisfied. They said, well, that sounds like a deal. And that was the agreement. Everybody clapped their hands, and that settled it. And that's where you find in Africa, I don't know if you've ever seen a cooking place with 3 stones. Miss Daphne told me she's been to Africa. Did you ever have a chance to see 3 stones? All over Africa, the traditional cooking place. And I'm telling you, I think 85% of Africans still use this cooking place. There will be a cooking pot sitting right on top of 3 stones, and the firewood will be coming from every side, all the 3 sides, but this will be the cooking pot. Right here, something is boiling, and the firewood is sticking from all the sides, but these are the boys who wanted to marry Nambi, and this is Nambi. That's where we get the pot, the cooking pot sitting on 3 stones. Forever. You will not find 4 or 5 stones. There will always be 3 stones. Okay? So that's how important it is to have compromise. When we have an argument, it's always very good to have a compromise because it will work for ages. For as long as Africans have existed, they've cooked on 3 stones with only 1 pot boiling at a time. All right, thank you for listening to that story. Now, I want to tell you about our African outfits. I am a very big geek on African clothing. Most of the time, see, I've even influenced my mother. She's not an African. My mother is not an African. That's another story. But my mother is from Jamaica, and they wear American clothing. But, you know, she just fell in love with African clothing, and when we go places, they say, Mom, wear your African dress. So we have African clothing for her. She has been to Africa so many times, even before I met her. She fell in love with Africa. And I'm so glad that you guys have fallen in love with Africa. That's why you're here, to hear about Africa. But African clothing is very comfortable. Most of the time it's made in pure cotton. Her dress is pure cotton, very comfortable. And it's usually full of airspace, okay? Why? Because Africa is hot. So we want to wear something that's gonna fan you as you walk along. But this decorated outfit is usually on special occasion. And we can even dress the hair. You know about how women like to tie their hair. You've seen African head ties. We like that. Sometimes you're not complete until you have a head tie. So you don't just go out to a very important, like a wedding. So we have 3 different functions when a girl is getting married. There's one function that's called introduction. When she brings home her suitor, and then she introduces him to her family. Then there's another function called the engagement, when we have the traditional marriage, when the husband-to-be pays bride price. It depends on your education as a girl. If you have 1, 2, 3 degrees, that determines how many cows the guy is gonna pay to your family for taking you to have babies for him. And so, but everybody comes out dressed well on that day. Sometimes she changes every time she comes. I mean, they just take her in and out of her room, and she changes all these beautiful outfits, and everything has to be decorated, something on the head. Jewelry, we wear jewelry heavily because we have gold. We have gold, so we like to wear the gold and some other stones. So they like to wear their gold bracelets and earrings, and in some, you know, we Africans differ from one country to another. In Ghana, where Daphne has been, right from babyhood, a baby is introduced to earrings. And as a woman, you never step out of your house without earrings in Ghana, okay? And in some of the other countries that are closer to the Arab world, like Egypt, Ethiopia, Sudan, always. If you will not wear anything else, at least wear earrings. Very important. Then you're a complete woman. And so some of us go and wear bigger earrings. The sky is the limit how much jewelry you can wear. You have seen some, have you ever heard of the Maasai? They wear jewelry, they don't wear too much clothing. Some of them actually go almost half naked. Just something around here. But, you know, the G-string, they're the ones who invented the G-string. But they will wear jewelry covering the whole neck from here up to here. The Maasai. They're a savage tribe, but they are very big on jewelry. So that's part of our culture as Africans. And then we can, or sometimes when you have something like this, then you take it. If you're very poor, you still have something like this to put on your head. You don't have, and at night some people use the same thing to cover themselves from the cold. The very poor families, but she always has something large like this over her. cover her or to cover her head. And at night, then she'll use it. That's the sad part of it, but that's because we don't have too much cold weather, so this will be sufficient just to cover herself at night. But of course, a blanket would be better. But I'm just telling you traditionally how they do things sometimes. I will teach you some African proverbs. See, there's a time when you need to tell people about unity and you don't know how to put it across to them. When you have heard about fightings in some parts of Africa. But usually what silences people is when you get up and say, hey guys, when your teeth in your mouth are not coming together, can you eat meat? Then everybody thinks about their mouth when they eat meat or when they have to bite a bone. If the teeth don't come to connect together, you can never bite a bone. So they have this saying, agali awamu gegalume gumba. I don't care how strong a bone is, but if you bring your teeth together with determination, they will crush the bone. Whether you're a human being or you're a dog, you will crush a bone if you let your teeth come together. So we can have molars and we can have all kinds of teeth in your mouth, but as long as they're separated from each other, they can never bite any food. They cannot chew the food. But when we have a problem to deal with, we have to tackle it. We have to get together. Could be different kinds of people, but once we get together, like the United Nations getting together, they have solved a lot of world problems ever since they united. All kinds of nations, different shades and colors, different cultures, they come together and they solve a problem. Just like the teeth in your mouth can come together and bite any kind of food. That's agali awamu gegalume gumba. Linda bigweyo afumita mukira. Have you ever seen people who wait, you say, come on, everybody's rushing to the canteen and getting this or getting the cafeteria. Oh, I'm gonna wait, today's a special meal, come on, let's go to the, oh, wait. Well, before they wait, they wait too long, and by the time they go there, they say, oh, sorry, the hamburgers are all finished. Now you can just have only the French fries in the cafeteria. Linda bigweyo afumita mukira, they always get the tail. People who study late, just look at people who dress last. Everybody's getting dressed and getting ready. By the time they get there, perhaps they don't find, in New York where I used to live before I came here, you gotta be there on time, otherwise the train is gonna leave you, the bus is gonna leave you. You will be there, as long as you wait for other people to go, when you enter the train, you'll be the one to stand if you wait, because the seats are taken up by the people who go first. So it's always very good to be on time. Linda bigweyo afumita mukira. This is a saying that has been in my country for a long time, and people who take it seriously are people who have succeeded in life. They listen to it. Akaliba akendo kalabira kumukonda. See, there are some plants that, I don't know if you know a gourd. Do you know a plant that's called a gourd? A gourd is going to be some kind of like a calabash, but it has a little bend. It has a little bend it has a neck that's a little bent, and it's purposely bent because then you use it as a handle. You use it as a handle. It has to be that way, but a gourd that grows straight can never be that special gourd that has to have a handle for using, because we use it for drawing like water, we use it for drawing liquids, like a ladle, like a serving ladle. So it has to grow that when you go to the bush and you're hunting for these gourds, in your heart, in your mind, you want that special gourd that's going to be used as a dishing calabash. Now, if it's not bent like that, you can't take it, and you will see it as a little fruit growing, and you'll be watching it until it grows to a certain size. Then you can go and harvest it, and you go dry it, and you kind of remove the inside of it, and then it becomes your dishing calabash. But if it grows straight, it can never be used as a dishing calabash. So you know it. When it is little, you will know this one day will be my dishing calabash. And then the other fruit can be something else. Same thing with human beings. You can have children, or you can have, as a teacher, you can have students in your class, or as, you know, whatever young, it could be a plant or it could be people. You watch them. You could be the oldest in your family, you look at your siblings, or you look at your grandchildren, or you can even look at your friends. You have friends, and you look at the friends and say, this one day will be my closest friend. This one will stick with me to the end. This one here is just looking at me because I can help them with classwork. And this one, will be really a good partner in business. But this one here is one who will stick with me through thick and thin. You can know them when they are just beginning, when relationship is just beginning in your life. Now, the same way you can look at children in a classroom and you say, this one is going to be a good doctor. And this one will make a good engineer, because they just don't like to play with human beings. They like to play with their pieces of the toys, and maybe they like to play with their little toy cars or whatever. This one will make a good car engineer. But this one will be an architect, because I see how they build the Legos. They are going to be good builders. You can see a child who will be a good nurse or a good doctor. Akaliba akendo or karabira ku mukonda. You just see them when they are developing. You know exactly where they're going to be. So we see our children when they are growing, when they're little. We can tell what kind of people they will be when they grow up. And the same goes with the one who right now is ending up in correction institutions. That child started when they were little. They didn't just overnight become wrongdoers. They started when they were little. They were not listening. You tell them do this, they do the other. Don't go here, that's where they go. This is dangerous for you, that's exactly what they do. Don't be surprised when they end up in correction institution, in and out of the correction institution. The saying is, Kachama mamera. They were crooked when they were still little. Kachama, that's when they grew crooked, when they were still little. And then when they grow up, you try to straighten them. For example, if this was a tree that's already grown, this microphone, if you try to straighten a tree that is already grown that way by bending, like you try to straighten it, it will just break. It's not supple anymore. So when a child is still little and they can be straightened out, that's when you deal with it. But you say, he'll grow up, he'll learn. Oh no. Oh no. You wait for them to grow up. They grow up, they become grown. They grow up, they grow longer and longer, but they're still bent. So then they find a system, they go out into the world, out of your home. Then the system tries to straighten, hey, how come you talk this way? You talk down to people. You talk, you curse, you want to hit people. Come on, straight, get straight, they break. You hear about having mental breakdowns. They succumb to different things. They are being broken by the system. It's too late. But if they were little and somebody helped them, they were bent at this age, and somebody straightened them when they were supple, they will be straight. And if a tree is beginning to bend when it's little, but you want it to be a straight Christmas tree, one day you'll use it as a Christmas tree in your backyard. We get another stick and just put it right beside it, tie to it, and tie to it, tie it very tight, and then this other pole will help you to grow straight. Then you hope you will have a straight Christmas tree. But if it grew up that way, it's a long Christmas tree, but it's already bent, you can never harvest it and use it as a Christmas tree because it will be bent. These are the ones that they call the rejects. So this is what we learn from Proverbs in Africa. We use Proverbs, and that says thousands of words just in one proverb. I would like to show you the African drum, which is very important. From days immemorial, the African drum is what we use for communicating. Different beats mean a different thing. There's a drum that they beat is for when somebody very important has died, a king or a queen has died, and you play that drum in a certain way and people dance in a certain way. But then when it is just time for joy, again, you beat it in a certain way. When you're sending a message to a distance, make sure you have put it under fire. You put it over the fire so that it can sound loud. That's how we amplify our drums, by putting it near a fire. When it hits, the fire hits this leather here, it starts sounding very loud and very far. And so you beat it in a certain way and it sends a message. There's something happening over there, we need to go and gather. And then they come and gather around. I don't care how small the drum is, it can go very far when you have treated it the proper way. But the drum, usually it's boys who beat drums. That's why I'm not going to beat the drum. Boys are the ones who beat drums. Girls don't beat drums. Girls are the ones who dance to the drum. Boys are the ones who beat. But also there's a saying about the drum, that a child can beat the drum and adults will dance. So they don't despise children. They know a child can also do something that can help adults. Because when you gather around in a ceremony, they don't call on an adult to play the drum. It's the child. The children are the ones who are trained to play the drums. They are so important at the ceremony. They are the drummers. They beat the drum, and then adults get up and dance. So they say, please, don't despise children. A child who is the one who will beat the drum in order for you to dance. So they really respect children in that aspect. I want to share with you about how to greet in our language. Swahili is spoken in East Africa. When you talk about East Africa, you're talking about Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Congo, Rwanda, Burundi. These are the countries that speak Swahili. You can go in any of those countries and you can speak Swahili, and you'll be able to have your way around. Now I'm going to teach you a simple greeting in Swahili in case you find yourself in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, any of those countries. Just greet anybody right at the airport. Just say jambo. Can you say jambo? It's right on the board. Jambo. The answer is going to be jambo. Okay? Or if somebody comes to you and says jambo, they like shaking hands. So just get ready when you go to Africa, get ready to shake somebody's hand, okay? Jambo, jambo. Now the offensive thing is if they want to shake your hand and you hold back. That will offend them. And it will not be just be between you and the one who was offended. They're going to tell everybody about you. There's this one guy who wanted to run for office in politics. And he had lived in the United States, and he knew how hands can spread germs very well. So he goes back there and wants to run for office, and then he realizes, you know, some of these guys have dirty hands, and then they are ready to shake his hand, especially if you're running for office. You better shake people's hand. It could mean a vote for you. Just that handshake is so many votes for you. So he shook people's hands, and he would turn around and get water and wash his hand. They saw it. They said, we saw him washing his hands, talking about we're dirty. Do you know the man lost miserably? He lost that election, even though he was an able engineer. Could have done great things for the people. But just because that little piece of culture, he violated it. So it's always very important to give a right impression when you just arrive in Africa. But you can do that and just, you know, wait for the time when you get away from them, and you can wash in the privacy of your home. But don't wash before them. Let them not see you washing hands to show that they are dirty. And that's the truth. Some of them don't wash their hands for a long time. But because you know what you want, right? You want the vote. So you don't do it right in front of them. And then little by little, as a leader, you can teach them about hygiene as a good leader. And then habari. Now, jambo is hello, okay? Or hi. That's jambo. So you can say jambo, jambo, and that's enough. But if you want to be more friendly and show that you're more concerned about them, you will say habari, Can you say habari? Answer is nzuri, which means it's like, how are you? How are things? Any news? Habari really literally means news. And when do you, like, for example, when you're going to have a TV newscast, usually they just put habari, then people know it's time for news. So when you say habari, you want to know how things are. Then they will say mzuri, which means it's okay. If things are not good, they will tell you the whole long story. But just to make it short, they say mzuri, which means everything is okay. Now, to know how to pronounce it better is using the state of Missouri. That's why I put the name of the state of Missouri, so that you guys know how to pronounce it. Can you say Missouri? It's okay. And of course, another word that's very important in the African culture is thank you. Every time somebody does something, I don't care what little they do for you, thank you. This one we taught when we were little. Thank you. And the way we thank in Swahili is asante. Can you say asante? Very good. Okay, if you want to say thank you very much, you say asante sana. Asante sana. Anything. You know, if you want to say very, is always sana.